Ciao a tutti e
Cool, no
benvenuti
problem.
a Un tè alla MuliArt. Oggi ho veramente l'onore di presentarvi uno dei più bravi chitarristi al mondo, giovanissimo, che è Eric Steckel. Eccolo con noi. Today I am thrilled to have a very special guest joining us for a virtual cup of tea. An incredible blues rock guitarist, singer, producer, and one of the most soulful tone masters out there. Please welcome Mr. Eric Steckel. Okay,
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
thank you so much for being here. It's a real pleasure
No
being.
problem. No problem.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Okay, the first question is you're known for your powerful and distinctive tone. What do you personally look for in an amplifier when you're playing live or recording in the studio?
So I think probably besides the obvious things like a great warm,
Yeah,
the right frequencies and all the things that we all want,
yeah,
the things that I particularly look for, I like because my style of playing is where I'm always on the highest gain channel and I don't switch between channels. I just kind of use my volume
yeah,
pot on my guitar to control the dynamics of the performance. So what I look for in an amp is something that is just a wild beast that's almost out of control. Not too, but something that is just really just a screaming lion or tiger. Just something that
yeah,
is just kind of over the top. But in a good way. And then I like to just kind of, you know, with the guitar, I like to then kind of control how much of that I want to let out, how much of that I want to keep.
yeah,
And, you know, that's not how I started as a player. I started as a player like probably all of us did, where,
yeah,
you got some pedals and maybe you're switching between a clean and a dirty and all that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for my live shows, just over the years, I've been doing this now almost 26 years, which is kind of crazy. So over the years of playing in front of so many crowds, and I just got to the point where I don't want to be looking down too much at the floor. I don't want to be turning around, adjusting the amp too much.
yeah,
I'm very much into the performance aspect. So basically, just kind of by accident, I fell into this thing as a performer to just keep my focus on the people, right? And that's the great thing about when you're a volume knob player. Like Gary Moore was that way, Eddie was that way. You're not distracted by it. You
yeah,
can still focus on your crowd and make eye contact. And so it wasn't just about guitar tone. That was a bonus that I got from
okay,
playing a
okay,
more simple setup. But it really started with just I have a great respect for performers, like the way James Brown would
yeah.
perform, or just there's a real craft there, and I just personally, at a certain point in my career, I just kind of got sick of seeing so many blues guitar players looking down,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's a little bit distracting. So it was kind of a personal decision, but then it affected the tone in a good way. So
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Let me translate for our Italian
Oh,
friends.
sorry.
No, don't worry.
Long sentence
No
there. Yeah.
worries, absolutely. Ok, allora Eric ha detto che a parte le cose ovvie, quindi il tono, quindi alcune frequenze che magari vuole, gli piacciono di più, gli piacciono di meno, però la cosa importante è che l'amplificatore deve essere una bestia da palcoscenico e soprattutto ha detto che quando suona, a parte il discorso del tono, che chiaramente è importantissimo, ma lui si focalizza molto sulla performance, quindi praticamente non vuole distrazioni derivanti magari dall'attrezzatura ed è una cosa molto importante. Thank you, Eric. The second question is, how did your collaboration with Mezzabarba begin? What makes their amps a good match for your playing style?
So it actually started with, if we go back a little bit, even before Mezzabarba. So right around in 2018, I made a record that really changed my life and my career. And it was a record called Polyphonic Prayer. And it's actually still my best selling record. And The reason this is significant is because it was the first of my albums where I tried this sort of new formula of making a very bluesy album with the bluesy material, but using in a very extreme, very high gain guitar tone that you typically do not hear in contemporary blues.
Yeah.
And at that point in my life, in my career, without getting too much into it, it was I just kind of was just either I'm going to do this and it works, or I'm going to do this and it fails. And at that point, I don't know, I'll get a job or something. You know, I was just kind of at this, you know. So what happened was it worked, and that formula of soulful, bluesy guitar licks, but with a very, very modern
powerful
tone.
Yeah.
You know, it was, I'm not saying I was the first person to do that, but it was at that point in the contemporary blues, besides maybe Walter Trout and, you know, because Gary Moore, of course, left, you know, is gone, Eddie's gone. So it was, you know, at that point in my career, it was somewhat unique. So because of that, I just got into high gain amps.
Yeah.
You know, that became something that, you know, most guitar nerds obsessed with collecting guitars, which I do too. But amps became very fun to me all of a sudden. So then basically a guitar player friend of mine, Doug Rappaport, just somebody that, you know, I just kind of just a friend with over the years. And he would always do, you know, on his YouTube channel, he'd have some new amp every week that he was featuring and sort of promoting and, you know, as part of his, you know, like demos and things. And my first time seeing a Mezzabarba, even before hearing it, I just loved the red Transformers, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of drew me in just as someone who appreciates, you know, aesthetics, right? And then, of course, I clicked on the video and heard Doug play it, and it was just an unbelievable lead tone. And I just, you know, I wrote to Doug and said, "Hey, were you straight in?" He said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So the funny little story is that I had wrote to Pierangelo soon after that, but we had never met, and he was only maybe a little bit familiar with me, just the name or something. We had never met. I wrote him just a Facebook message just out of the blue, and I said something like, "Hey, you know, heard your stuff recently, love it, you know, would love to work with you in some capacity." And I'm allowed to tell this story because it's funny now. Yeah. He responded and said something sort of like, "Hey, Eric, yes, I've heard of you. Yes, but at the moment you're playing a lot of other, you know, Diesel, Wagner." And he said, like, "At this point in our company, we want to have people, you know, exclusive to us, not playing a million different things, you know." And so it just kind of, he went on with his life. I went on with my life, no problem. And then at NAMM 2019, Seymour Duncan hired me to be the house band at the Marriott, where they do the jams every night and they have all the players come up. So Doug Rappaport is a Seymour Duncan artist. Okay. And so I was allowed to pick who I wanted as my guest. So what happened is they had a new rule at NAMM: no 100-watt amps on stage at the hotels, right? Okay. But they didn't tell me this until maybe 10 minutes before, you know. So this guy named J.P. Cervoni, who is an American Italian partner with Pierangelo. I had, again, met him just a few times in life, you know, didn't really know him. He brought me a Mezzabarba Skill 30. Okay. And it was because I didn't know what to do, because they said no 100-watt amps on stage. And I'm like, well, I got to start, you know. So basically that night, I just played this skill, and there was so much going on that I didn't think much about it. But then later, when I watched videos of the performance, I was like, man, that amp sounds great. So I didn't know that JP was part of Mezzabarba, because JP lives 15 minutes from me. So I basically called JP and I said, "Man, you're working for Mezzabarba?" Yeah. And then basically with JP's help, they said, "Oh, okay, let's work on a deal for Eric," and then we kind of then at that point we all became friends and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
and
I
then
know.
that's where it is now. We just, you know,
Okay.
but basically it was kind of a weird start because we all kind of didn't really know each other that well, and it's kind of funny, you know,
Ah,
but yeah, yeah,
ok, let me
yeah.
translate. Ok, Eric ha detto che praticamente non conosceva direttamente Pierangelo Mezzabarba, ma tramite un amico in comune in occasione del NEM 2019, praticamente aveva provato un amplificatore Mezzabarba che gli era piaciuto innanzitutto per quanto riguarda l'estetica, con i trasformatori rossi, quindi diciamo già quello lo aveva colpito. Dopodiché lo ha provato e ha detto wow, ha un suono eccezionale. Tra l'altro lui stava iniziando appunto a proporre questa musica blues però con un suono high gain, quindi aveva bisogno di un bel amplificatore potente e ha trovato chiaramente in Mezzabarba poi l'ampli che lo soddisfava. Ok, thank you Eric. The
Cool.
third question is your music blends classic blues with modern rock influences. Which artists have had the biggest impact on your sound?
Yeah, good question. I would say probably some of the most important, obviously Gary Moore,
Yeah,
obviously Rory Gallagher,
yeah.
you know, basically any of the guitar players that came through John Mayall's Blues Breakers, which, you know, I'm very
Um,
blessed to be one of them.
yeah,
But
yeah, I
any of
know.
them, you know, yeah. Dan Huff,
Hmm.
that's a bit of an obscure name. Well, in Nashville, it's not. So Dan Huff had a band called Giant, and they
Giants.
made some unbelievable records. And Dan's just a master, just, you know, kind of, you know, high gain, kind of bluesy rock in that Gary Moore thing. But because uh, Dan left LA around the early 90s and made a very smart business move. He moved to Nashville and started producing. And this was back, you know, when records were, so now he's a big producer, but people don't realize that before that he was just a great guitar player. So among guitar players, he's known. The general public, maybe
Doesn't know.
not,
Okay.
but he's on my list because he's so good. I mean, of course, Eddie, Stevie Ray,
Okay.
you know, a lot of the ones people would expect.
Yeah.
You know,
All
so
the
and then as far
greatest
as
bluesmen on earth. Okay.
exactly, and as far as the rock thing, it's weird because most of my guitar influences are more blues, you know, pentatonic
Yeah.
type players. So the rock influence is not really so much from the guitar. So what I do is, uh, you know, I live in California, so I'm always in the car a lot because we don't have like, you know, public transportation like you guys
Yeah.
in Italy. So I spend a lot of time in the car, and I I've found that for me to stay sane, I can't listen to music that's too close to what I make
Yeah.
because it's a little bit too much. So when I'm in the car, I listen to very different types of music. You know, like sometimes really modern metal,
Yeah.
or you know, or electronic music, dance music, ambient music. Very different because I need to give my ears
Differentiate
some.
all
Yes, right.
the listen music. Yeah. Okay.
So if all I listen to is, you know, pentatonic rock shredders, after a while it's like, okay, I need it, you know. So
That's enough.
because of yeah, I mean I love it, but it's what I do, so it's too much, right? So basically, so because I like to listen to very different types of music in the car, you know, those influences just accidentally find their way into my music.
Yeah.
Sometimes without me really knowing. I mean, the last project we did that actually Pierangelo was in Hollywood with us doing it. It's a song called "Hold Your Fire." And we did, you know, there's a music video for it, and you see the wall of Mezzabarbas
Yeah.
and you know, Pierangelo was there in town actually for that with us, and you know, and that's a song that, you know, it's in drop C. You know, I'm using two noise gates. It's super tight. It's like,
Yeah.
so it's the production um, is very modern, and you know, and that's just because of stuff that I listen to, you know, and of course my playing is still blues based, but yeah, my influences for the rock side don't really come from the guitar. They come from bands,
Yeah.
producers. You know, like I love metal bands like Of Mice and Men, Ghost,
Ah, okay.
Gojira.
I've seen
heavy
Ghost in
stuff.
Milan this year.
There you
They are
go. There you
fantastic.
go. Right.
Yeah, I
So
know.
basically, yeah. So the blues guitar players are still a big part of my influence, and I still listen to that a lot. But the modern rock stuff, yeah, it's more about the bands than it
Yeah.
is just players. Do you know what I mean?
Players. Ok, ok, let me translate. Ha
Mm.
detto che innanzitutto, vabbè, per quanto riguarda le influenze blues, ovviamente tutti i grandi del blues e ovviamente John Mayall, che mi sembra ovvio perché ha suonato nel gruppo, quindi è ovvio, poi Stevie Ray Vaughan, insomma, tutti i grandi. Per quanto riguarda invece le influenze rock, cerca di non ascoltare gli stessi artisti, cioè gli artisti che fanno più o meno un genere simile al suo, ma ascolta anche il metal moderno, quindi diciamo con accordature basse, oppure per esempio, ha fatto un esempio, i Ghost, che comunque voglio dire sono anche tra l'altro uno dei miei gruppi preferiti, quindi cerca diciamo di non focalizzarsi su chitarristi rock, ma piuttosto su band e su produttori. Okay, thank you, Eric. The
Sure.
fourth question: you have played on international stages and worked with many professionals. How has your approach to guitar tone evolved over the years?
I think something I notice a lot, because I really study my performances. Like even if it's on a long tour and we have a lot of shows, I will at the end if once videos are up on social media, I
Uh,
study it. I go and I look for what can be improved. I'm very 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 critical of myself. So what I've noticed is that over the last few years, and this might be just getting older too, it might not be really intentional, but just as I get older,
yeah,
my playing and my tone is more dynamic. So I'm riding the volume knob even more. I'm you know uh, not just with my right hand. I'm finding different spots, and different harmonics, and
yeah,
basically just treating the guitar, almost showing the guitar more respect as an instrument, like not just kind of going out there and putting everything on 10 and tearing it up, but trying to find the other colors. um, and like I said, not switching channels of the amp, but just finding the colors in the
in the
guitar.
guitar. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And just kind of, it's a really cool thing when you can just. I'll give you an example. So we just played a festival in Spain that was like a fly in, fly out, same day. And of course, in situations like this, I just have my guitars on my back, a cable, and a tuner, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you
yeah,
just so the back line is just, it's a total, we don't know.
yeah.
And on this recent show, they gave me an amp that I'm not really fond of. It's one of it was like one of those new 5150s, but with like the 6L6.
Yeah.
Very very harsh, very raspy, not smooth, and but again, there was no sound check. It was a line check. Go on stage at 250, play at 3. So uh, basically, I was able to just kind of plug in, set everything close enough, and go out there and just rock and do the show.
Yeah.
So basically, how that answers your question is that I'm becoming more confident as a player in the
Yeah.
tone that I have in my hands. And for many years, people would tell me this, and I was kind of insecure about my playing. So I would
Yeah.
be so obsessive over the settings and the equipment, and I still love great gear, of
Sure.
course. But I have learned to relax a little bit and be confident in that I've been doing this a long time. I have a good ear. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm and I can go in front of an audience and entertain people. And so basically what's evolved is the confidence and the I'm obsessing less about the rig and the little, and I'm focusing more on, let's give people a show of a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, okay,
Yeah, at
let
least
me
it's clear
translate
now.
for our Italian
Good.
friends. Allora, ha detto che diciamo, il suono si è evoluto non tanto dal punto di vista dell'attrezzatura, perché lui si sta focalizzando piuttosto sul suono che ha nelle mani, quindi intanto magari l'utilizzo del potenziometro del volume, quindi la dinamica, ma anche per esempio plettrare in diverse posizioni con la mano destra, appunto perché magari appunto riesce ad ottenere diversi suoni anche senza, diciamo, curarsi troppo dell'amplificatore, degli effetti, anche perché una cosa molto importante, spesso si trova a suonare in posti diversi dove non sempre ha le condizioni ottimali chiaramente per avere tutto il setup completo, quindi è molto importante focalizzarsi innanzitutto nelle mani, nel tocco delle mani, nella chitarra e poi chiaramente, come abbiamo detto prima, focalizzarsi sulla performance, quindi guardare chiaramente, pensare allo spettacolo più che al suono chitarristico. Okay, Eric, thank you so much. This is the last question.
Sure.
What
Okay.
advice would you give to young guitarists in Europe, in Italy, who wants to stand out today, uh, both musically and professionally?
Great question. And it's these days. The business is so strange. With
Yeah,
social media and all the pitfalls of that, but also all the benefits of that. It's and I've had to learn as I go. In this business, not everything is laid out nicely for you, and just follow this formula and you'll be success. There's definitely a lot of risk. There's a lot of I guess I would say to the young players, um, if you want to really stand out, you want to be different, you're going to go through a period where people are just going to doubt you or not want you to be different because it upsets their vision of what things need to be.
yeah,
So an example of that would be like we were talking about before about, in 2018 when I kind of tried this new thing, it was well received, but among my colleagues, it took a while. So, all of a sudden the last couple of years, all the players around me are, tipping their hat and, but it wasn't like that in the beginning. So if you get easily, this might be a hard word to translate. If you get easily rattled, it's a word we say in America. You have to just try to remind yourself that see the long game, play the long game. Don't be so focused on tomorrow. That think of like, okay, look, you want your career to have meaning and
yeah,
impact. You don't want to sound like everybody else. Well, then be prepared to not be treated like everybody else. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
Some
yeah, yeah.
people, like what I've seen a lot with players is they say they want something, but they don't want the negatives that then come with that. And if you're going to be different, not everyone's going to dig you. And that could be, some people need to be liked and accepted, especially musicians. We're all very insecure and a little crazy.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, right. I'm sure. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Impossible, right? But I think so. My advice would be to a player is like, I think absolutely be different. Go with your gut.
Okay.
Follow your heart, your gut, and your instincts. Don't worry about trying to blend in or anything. But everybody forgets. Whenever I see these podcasts and people are giving advice, they never tell like the real truth about what can happen as well, which is it's gonna be an uphill climb, and you're not gonna have a lot of friends on the way up because you're taking risks, and people sometimes don't like that.
Yeah.
It just bothers people sometimes, right? Then when you get there, everybody's suddenly your best friend. So, that's a whole different thing.
Okay.
But I would say, yeah, to the players that want to be different is, yes, go for it, but try to build a wall between your emotions and your craft. And I'm saying this from experience because I wasn't good at this in the beginning. I would get emotional and upset that I wasn't getting support from the industry, and if I would have let that stop me, I would have never gotten to where I am now. So basically to the young players out there, man, go for it and just block out the noise. Don't listen to, don't read every comment. Don't listen, don't obsess over what the
Go
people
your own
are.
way and do it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes. But like I said, but the most important in this, be prepared. It's not going to be always pleasant and easy.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, and that's the best things in life. That's how you get them. You got to work for it, you know?
Thank you so much. This is
Yep.
really a great advice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Let
you.
me
Thank you.
translate. Lui ha detto che chiaramente allora nell'epoca dei social ci si aspetta che tutto avvenga tutto e subito nel più breve tempo possibile. Lui dà diciamo due consigli fondamentali. Innanzitutto è quello di seguire il cuore e lui ha detto the gut, quindi lo stomaco, cioè cercare comunque appunto di seguire il proprio istinto, di andare avanti. E la seconda cosa è che una volta arrivati non è sempre tutto bello, ci saranno diverse difficoltà e soprattutto tutti quanti magari sembreranno amici, però effettivamente non è tutto così bello come sembra. Quindi se posso riassumere insomma tutto il discorso che ha fatto Eric, diciamo ci sono appunto questi due consigli. Eric, thank you so much
No problem.
for joining us. We will wait for you in Campobasso.
Perfect. Yeah, I think am I going to see, maybe I see some of you guys when I do the, what is it? Is it
Uh,
the Berenice, or is
we
that coming
must
up? I think is
organize
near you
a
guys.
clinic, concert, live
Yeah.
here in Campobasso. So
Yeah, let's I think, yeah, maybe like early next year could be good. Let's talk about it.
ok,
It'd be great.
thank you so much. Ok,
No problem.
io ringrazio tutti per essere stati qui con noi, anche sono onorato veramente di aver fatto la conoscenza di Eric. Vi lascio in descrizione tutti i link social, sia di Eric, il suo Spotify, quindi tutta la sua discografia. Andate ad ascoltarlo se non lo conoscete perché è veramente un grandissimo chitarrista ed è stato veramente un onore per MuliArt avere la possibilità di intervistarlo e per me innanzitutto. Già che ci siamo, iscrivetevi al canale cliccando sul tastino in basso a destra, attivate la campanella per le notifiche e lasciate ovviamente un bel like al video. Già che ci siamo, lascio anche i miei link social, quindi iscrivetevi anche al mio canale dove faccio un po' di prove di strumenti musicali, faccio un po' di casino con la chitarra. Eric, thank you so much. Apologize for my English, I know it's not perfect, but
No, it's actually great. I mean,
oh,
'cause
great. Thank you
it's
so
no, I thought it was
much. You're
fine.
very
Yeah.
kind.
No, no, it's that's good, man. I appreciate whenever people make an effort. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. So no problem, no problem. All good.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Cool.
Bye bye.
Ciao. Thank you.
Ciao. Ciao ciao.